Hey, this is Ryan Johnson with Three Sparrows Executive Services. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and welcome to an episode with my good friend Ryan Johnson from Three Sparrows Executive Services. And Ryan is a fractional COO for companies, yet he's also a man of God, and he's a Christian, fellow Christian, good friend of mine. And what he puts out there with the knowledge nuggets about really pouring into service, whether you want to hire him as your COO or not, or have other people learn about what a fractional is in business, you're going to learn that here. But the takeaways that I got had a lot more to do with really leveling up your service to others and how people be there and be that person for others, and also be open to the reciprocation that can come your way. Ryan is a fellow Christian. He's a really good friend, and just what he does to pour into people is above reproach. So if you like this, smash the subscribe button or the like button. My sponsors and affiliates absolutely love that. And also break out your notebooks, because he talks about how service and ways that you can service that come to the surface were just amazing. I have pages and pages of notes myself. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, Ryan Johnson from Three Sparrows Executive Services. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and we kind of running short. I'm taking up a lot of this guy's time because we were on the mic rapping for about a good 15, 20 minutes. He's a baseball stud here. We were talking and dropping some names on each other, and kind of our parallel rising through coaching and leadership and whatnot. But I'm bringing to you an interview with somebody that I respect immensely. You'll want to check out his website and also listen to the end for a really awesome offer that Ryan's giving. And it's Ryan Johnson. He's the founder and CEO of Three Sparrows Executive Services as a fractional. And again, fractional came up, and we were kind of joking about that a little bit off mic, but I had no idea what it was until I did an interview with somebody. But I think it's just a phenomenal way to really to work part-time and get paid full-time a lot of times. So anyways, as a fractional chief operations officer and business management coach, Ryan helps small businesses owners empower their team members to grow from clock punchers to owners and 10x their personal and business success. And Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, it's great. Well, first of all, thanks for having
You're
me, Scott.
welcome,
It's
man.
already a lot of fun. Favorite color, green. And
Really?
and not because it's the color of money, because it's the color of grass and growth.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
it's always turning over in Michigan State Spartans, and I'm just kidding. Everything else, but no, man, that for real, it's kind of a rebirth, and it shows
yeah.
you can always go back
Hmm.
and fix things or grow even more. But let's
Yeah.
get to the roots, because again, we talked about our athletic endeavors, which you played at a high level. You know,
Hmm.
just because like we talk about wanting to ultimately both of us get to the show, but you played at a high level. And but what's even the roots before that, Ryan? That you kind of grew up and grew into the highly sought after person that you are right now.
Well, I appreciate those comments for sure. Well, first of all, I'm a Christian. I love
Yeah, there you
Jesus,
go.
and that's who I am as a person. I had to learn that though. Obviously, I chose to follow him at an early age, but
How old were you, Ryan? Just curious.
well, I was 5 when I
Okay,
when I decided to follow Christ,
I was
but
7.
I didn't
Yeah.
really surrender until I was in college, probably
Yes.
my sophomore year. I traveled with an athletes in action group. We had a
Ooh.
phenomenal baseball team. A lot of pro athletes came off of that team, and they challenged me to really take my faith as my own. So that's who I am as a man. I'm a child of God first, and then second, like I said, a baseball guy through and through. But even from there, I love my family. I've got a wife and a 19-year-old son, and love my family. And then also, I just love helping people. Just
Yeah.
bottom line, like that's who I am. That's my personality. I'm a support. I was a vice president for so many years. I loved that support to the right hand person, and
Yep.
that's ultimately what I'm doing now in my business.
Love it. Who is your team though? Like your baseball team? Who's your
Yeah.
go-to? Is it the
So
Cubbies or is it
yeah,
White
as the
Sox or
Cubbies.
okay.
Yep.
Very good. Just curious on that.
Yeah.
Nice. Because we were talking where I lived in Oak Park for a minute, and
Yeah.
like Wrigleyville was literally, you could hear the games. Well,
Yeah.
but I'll bring us back to course here. But so you played at high level, okay?
Mhm.
And I'm so happy to hear you're a Christian. I'm unabashedly Christian. I'm not the guy that's shoving it down people's throats, but if they're ready and they want that walk, I'm right there
Yeah.
waiting to help them with it.
We
I love
shouldn't
it.
shove it down people's
Yeah,
throats.
right. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
But what brought you into kind of where you are now with the journey that you had?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll try to keep this concise because
No, you're good.
this is ultimate for sure. But when I was pursuing baseball, it was 100% like I'm going to the major leagues. I'm doing everything I can to get there. And then I had to get disrupted there because I realized that became everything who I was. I thought that's who I was. I was the baseball guy, right? And I had to get to the major leagues to prove myself. I was never a prospect growing up. I became a prospect late in my college days, and I felt like I was constantly proving myself to be the best baseball player I could be, and I thought that was my self-worth.
Sure.
And so God had to shake me up, and I left coaching. Didn't want to, but I left it. I knew I had to, and then that's when I found my wife to be, and was able to adopt her son, and we have this amazing family now. And so I realized at that point, I kept telling myself, this is who I am. I'm a baseball guy. I can't do anything
Right.
else.
Right.
And the Lord had to tell me, speak to my spirit and say, no, you're my child, number one, and you can do whatever I want you to do.
Right.
And so I left that coaching job, a really good coaching job. I was about ready to be a head coach.
Wow.
And I left it cold turkey. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no plan. And in 2 months, I got a job at the local college here in town, Central Baptist College. And then 12 years there, ended up working my way up to executive leadership. And that's where I really found a love for leadership development, personal development, and then process development. I always had those tendencies, had those personalities, but never really was able to bring it all together until I got to that position. And then it happened again. Felt like in my spirit, it was time to move. I said about coaching, I'll be the coach the rest of my life. And when I got to Central Baptist College, I said, I'll be here the rest of my life. This is great. But one thing I found out about the Lord is he doesn't like complacency. He wants people to grow.
Right.
And as you know, as an athlete, the only way you get stronger and faster and better is you have to put yourself through stress. You have to put yourself through pain
Right.
and
Yeah.
suffering. And so he likes that too.
Sure.
He wants us to be our best.
Well,
And
Jesus
so
suffered the worst. So yeah,
oh
he
my
wants us a
goodness.
little
Yeah, he
taste of
led
it.
the example for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So I felt that again. It was time to move. And so I thought, okay, I'll just go get a marketplace job because I felt like he was wanting me to be in the marketplace and influence people for good, for the kingdom, and just help people, help small business owners specifically, because 90% of our business in the US are small business owners, and they have a hard time scaling and surviving because they don't have the right executive leadership. And so I knew it was time to move. However, I thought I was just going to get a job. I'll just
Right.
get a marketplace job, get some experience, and couldn't get a job. I
What
think they
year was
looked at
that, Ryan?
that was just a couple years ago, 2022.
Got you.
And I was convinced, and after talking with a lot of former executives, I was convinced that you kind of get typecast into your experience. So for 12 years, 22 years, I was in higher education.
Right.
And then for the past 12 years, I was in just nonprofit leadership. And so
Right.
when you're trying to get into the marketplace, people just don't see. Everybody wants 5, 10, 15 plus years of experience in a
Sure.
certain market.
Right.
So that's when I just said, you know what, I'm just going to start doing work. I had mentors in my life, coaches in my life say, you got skill sets.
Yeah.
You got a ton of them. Just start doing work for people. So I started listening to people, asking great questions, saying, hey, where do you need help? And filling in the gap. And so now that's where I'm at today, is just having great conversations with people and simply asking them, how can I help you be your best? And I love that.
I love it. It's like a good friend of mine, one of my coaches, Leah, she said, get your asking gear, right? Like you got to ask. And like they also say how to make God laugh, tell him your plans, right? So
Yeah,
I love that
that's
you
right.
are following his
Mm.
instead of it probably shortened the learning curve a little bit. And I think that what I'm hearing, and I'm putting on my coaching hat here a little bit, what I'm hearing is that it was already laid out for you, and you're following, you're really, for a lack of a better term, bought in to God's
Yeah.
plan. And
Yeah.
you're still, we're human, we're gonna be shocked. We're gonna, what the heck? We're gonna
Yeah.
question things, but that's beautiful. So I got to ask you where the three sparrows comes from.
Yeah, well, as you would guess, it's from the Bible.
Yeah.
So in the New Testament, in Matthew and Luke, you see Jesus talk about how he provides for his children,
Yes.
and he uses the example of the sparrows and the lilies of the field, and he says, if I provide for them in such great ways, he compares it to like Solomon's robes of how the flowers and the lilies of the field are
Yes.
dressed. So if aren't you worth more than those sparrows and those flowers? I'm going to take care of you.
Yes.
So
Because we're in his image.
that's
Is
right.
all
That's
right.
right.
So
So we've honed in on the sparrows. My wife loves sparrows, and she's like, "Hey,
all right.
when we start this business, there's three of us,
Mhm.
so let's just call it three sparrows, and
Right.
whatever else you want to tack onto it, then do that." So
Right.
it's a reminder that this is our next stage of provision that he has for us in our lives, but also our next set ministry opportunity as well.
I love it. But now let's dive into the three sparrows. Okay.
Okay.
What are you offering?
Yeah. So three tiers, three services within this business. It's an executive services business, but I focus on the fractional chief operations officer role. I've got some other contracts, but we're going to focus on that. So the whole goal there is to make sure that small businesses have a strong mission, vision, a strategic growth system, not just a plan, but a system that grows with them and moves with them, and they're able to start to step away from the business so the business can run without them, and that they can grow that business. They can scale that business up because they have a great operations management system, a foundation to build their business. So that's the main gist of what I'm doing. I've got a few different services within that scope, but the bottom line is these small business owners don't typically have the resources to spend $200,000+ a year
Mhm.
for an executive leader, but they need another executive leader to take the daily operations, the weekly operations, I shouldn't say daily, but the weekly
Yes, sir.
operations
Yeah.
oversight, to work with the management team so they can work on just the things that they love and that they do really good to help the business grow.
I love it. And so educate our listeners a little bit, because you said fractional a few times, and I know you're going to
Yeah.
be able to explain it a heck of a lot better than I can.
Mhm.
Explain what a fractional chief operations officer does
Yeah.
and why it's called fractional.
Yeah, you bet. So what it does is allows a fractional works part-time, but is on the leadership team. So they are full-time, they're on call all the time, but they're focused in just a portion of the week. So when they're leading meetings or troubleshooting, that sort of thing, helping create the plans, that sort of thing. So a part-time, but typically about a third of the cost of a full-time
Okay.
executive leader. So I just met with a potential client yesterday, and they were asking the same thing. They said, "So how many hours you put in and what's your hourly rate?" I said, "Don't do any of that. Listen,
Sure.
I'm on your leadership team. So I set up the meetings. We come to the terms of what needs to get done. Those things get done. And you have a problem, you reach out to me, and I prioritize it. Same day, next day, we're gonna knock it out."
Gotcha.
So it's just like any other team, but we're reducing the tasks down to the strategic oversight instead of all of the other tasks that you might tack on to an
Right.
executive leader because they make a lot of money. To say, okay, you're here for 40 hours a week, so you're also going to do XYZ, all these other things along with your strategic leadership and oversight. So
Gotcha.
we're just reducing that down to the strategic oversight, which is what these businesses need the most. So they can put the money into operations managers or salespeople that are actually producing the revenue of the company. So that's what a fractional
Gotcha.
is. And so what I do is I come in and help them get a strategic growth system up and running, help train and manage their people, coach their people to be their best within the context of the business operations, how to take ownership. You mentioned in the front end from go to clock puncher to owners.
Yeah.
I believe if you truly empower your people, coach them, train them well, give them all the resources that they need, they're going to be loyal to you and they're going to become an owner of what they're doing. They're not just going to say, okay, tell me what to do
Right.
and give me my
They'll
paycheck
become
and I'll leave.
intrapreneurs,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Intrapreneurs in the business.
I love it. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
are you the actual fractional COO? Are you bringing other people that are looking for fractional work onto other companies? Or I'm just trying to really
No, it's a
understand
good point.
what we're doing.
Yeah, there's two models. I'm the solopreneur currently. So I'm
Gotcha.
the fractional that comes in and does all the
Love
work.
it.
And as demand grows, I've been doing this for about a year and a half. So
Yeah.
as it grows, I could see an agency model
I
coming
was just
along.
gonna say, brother,
Yeah.
with your heart, with
Mhm.
your listening capabilities, with what you're looking for, what you're helping people find. Because again, a lot of times small business owners, including a lot of them that I coach, the biggest thing is they own a job. And like what I'm
Yeah.
hearing from you is you want them to own a business, scale it, grow it, and put the right people in place because they can see their dream come to fruition, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Uh,
that's why they got into it, is to see their vision and then they get to have the time freedom that they want and the financial freedom that
Right.
they want.
Because they own
Mhm.
jobs if they're not, they're
That's
just
right.
there, right?
They just created a big old job for themselves.
So, question for you then, Ryan, is okay. I walk into, I'm blessed to coach like two pretty big companies, as I was saying.
Mhm.
But when I first go in, right, because I was brought in, I happened to speak on a stage and it was a stage side lead to go speak somewhere else. And I did it. And the guy that has the company approached me and it was like, okay, I would love to have a talk with you, whatnot. So I coached him for an hour. He's like, okay, yeah, let's talk. When he wanted to bring me onto his team
Mhm.
in coach his company. And again, I'm not a consultant. I'm a coach. There's that performance gap. I just help
Yeah.
bridge that. A lot of
Mhm.
things happen at home and I help them out with that to bring them back to the office. They're on point. When you are in a fractional situation, like me as a coach, so you have the owner or CEO and it goes down and I get a lot of pushback from one of the people because they're like, dude, what the hell is this guy doing here? Kind of thing. Okay. Being a fractional
Mhm.
COO, when you
Mhm.
walk into these companies, me, if I work for the company, I would say this affectionately, hey, part timer, I would say something like that, just joking with you. I'm not the guy that gives rep, but do you catch any flack
Mhm.
from the full timers that are there? Because you're in a leadership role, but you're not at the company as much. Just curious.
Yeah. So from my where I'm sitting right now, I work with very small groups. So right
Okay.
now, under 4 million annual gross revenue, 5 to 15 employees, that type of thing.
Okay.
So I don't experience that. What I experience right now is, oh, thank God. Because I had a property management client was my first one, and they were a couple
Mm,
buddies of mine, and they brought me in and initially thought they just needed a PMP manual. And we get to talking and we're like, no, you need a COO. And they're
right.
like, well, we can't afford that. What does that even look like? So we start having conversations and so I got to go in there and that's what their management team was like. They were so happy because they didn't have the resources that they needed. Now these the co-owners were amazing guys,
Yeah.
but they were movers and shakers. They were
Sure.
visionaries. They
Right.
they didn't want to get bogged down in the weeds, and they were in
Right.
the weeds and they were miserable. And
Right.
so when I came in, it was like a breath of fresh air, not necessarily because it was me, but it's because, oh, they care. They do care.
Sure.
They're giving us a resource to hit our numbers and get our bonuses and all of this stuff. So I don't experience that. Now, some fractionals that work with enterprise companies and bigger
Oh, you're
companies,
going to.
I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that they would experience that. But but for me, I focus on the small business owner.
Okay. No, that's very good. So, as a fractional, are you allowed to be contracted by multiple companies? Let's say you work as a fractional this company, fractional that company, as long as there's no competing.
That's right.
But is
Yes.
that, do people do that?
Yeah, that's expected. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you
Yeah.
could be a fractional of A, X, Y, and Z, but A, B, C, but as long as they're not both like builders.
You
And
wouldn't want competitors.
okay,
You're signing NDAs. You're not giving
sure,
away any secrets, that sort of thing. You would just be able to advise better because you experience more
sure.
situations. So you
Oh
can
yeah.
come in. I can come in and say, okay, this is how we did it over here. Again, non-compete, so it wouldn't really. It doesn't matter. They wouldn't care. And if I don't sign an NDA, then that's great. But I'm always going to protect any type of secret sauce, and everybody's bound to that unspoken because this is our business, this is our
Right.
livelihood. So we're not here to pit people against one another. But yes,
Sure.
that's the expectation. Mhm.
Okay. Got you. So if I was kind of out at a networking event, right, and I'm hearing things
Mhm.
that, because again, God gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason,
Yeah.
right? And believe me, I'm way more interested in your story than telling you about mine. But if I'm sitting there and I'm how networking events unfold, they're usually kind of like a one-on-ones. Okay, if I'm at a networking event, Ryan, and I'm just kind of rapping with somebody on a one-on-one off to the side, is there anything that they're saying that would make them a good referral, prospect, or contact for you, whether it's now or maybe when you start to build out an agency? What am I hearing?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, these business owners are going to talk about their people not knowing what they're supposed to do. They're always coming to me. Their productivity is down. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to inspire my workforce. They're saying stuff like that. Or they're saying, I hate operations. I know we need it. I just need somebody to handle that. Those types of things. All small business owners are going to be overwhelmed. That's
Mm.
that's typically my thing is I'm looking for overwhelmed business owners. Well, that's pretty much all of them. So that's an initial trigger that goes, man, I can't even keep up with all these operations and I don't have another executive
Right.
leader to help me. So those types of things. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Do they expect more from you than what your role is supposed to be? And if they do, how do you handle that? Meaning, if you're the COO, but they start talking, let's just say something that's not included in the COO's role, are they expecting you to know that? Or do you set the preface from the start? And like, again, it just seems like a guy like you, I could come to you, and if it's not in your realm, you're going to find a solution for me
Mhm.
anyways. Not to listen to you to tell me what to do, but say, hey, I know this guy or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
does that happen?
Yes and no. It
Okay.
certainly could happen, yes. But what I do and any good fractional leader is going to do is come with their expectations up front. And they're going to say, hey, this is what I do. And once we hear out the business owner what they really need, because I'm not going to ever push myself on people.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell them, okay, no, you don't need even a fractional COO right now. You need an ops manager. You need a daily ops manager.
Love.
So you need to go that route. And then when you need help after that, once you get him or her landed, then let me know. So I'm never going to do that. So I always come in and say, okay, this is what you need. This is what I do, and this matches or it doesn't match. So
Gotcha.
up front, I'm always happy to refer and connect. But
Yeah.
if they're looking for someone to do a bunch of tasks, then that's going to be the manager. That's an operations manager.
Gotcha.
And so I would advise to go that route instead.
So on the fractional side of things, are you really just a COO? Not just, but is that your jam? COO, is that what you do?
It's my main thing, absolutely.
Okay.
But my other skill sets, and I'm glad you asked
I was
that
just going to say,
because,
because you come from a
yeah, mhm,
diversification
absolutely.
backstory. So,
Absolutely. And so currently I have sales contracts, I have marketing contracts, I have development contracts. And so that's why I called it executive services. And
love it.
so I have not only executive operations leadership, I have operations manager experience, I have sales, recruitment, all sorts of different things that I can do. And so yeah, I can do a lot of different things. So the benefit is you bring me in, you actually are kind of like getting a chief marketing officer as well,
Right.
and
Right. I
kind
was
of
just
like you're
going to say
getting
you got a lot
a
in that
VP of
background.
sales,
Yeah.
VP of sales as well. So it's kind of three in one for me. I'm a little
Yeah.
bit of a unicorn to
Okay.
have an operations guy that's
Yeah.
usually pretty black and white,
Sure.
to also be very creative and
Be
can
able to
sell and
sell.
recruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's awesome, man.
Mhm.
So let me ask you something, Ryan. Have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
let's get out to DeLorean with Marty McFly now. Let's go
Okay.
back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Ryan. Don't
Mhm.
change anything because God's path is God's path. But is there
Right.
any knowledge nuggets that you might drop on him to maybe shorten a learning curve a little bit or maybe blast through, maybe just a little bit quicker?
Yes, absolutely. Focus on others first. Really, really look to serve people. When we're young, we're looking for what life has to offer us, right?
Right.
And if I could know how your network, how a group of friends and a network can support one another. If I would have learned that a long time ago, I think I
Yeah.
would have. Now, I was blessed with some really good coaches. My mentor coach at Lyon
That's awesome.
College, Kurt Kelly, was awesome, and he was all about, hey, you give and you give and you serve and you serve. And he was all about leaning into the network, not for just what it would be for me, but what I could be for others. Win-win situations. So don't be selfish. Don't I, that I would tell myself things will happen. The Lord's got a sovereign plan he's
Mhm.
executing, but he wants you to serve. So go serve and don't worry about so much about your life and what's going to happen.
Okay, about this then. I'm going to play the advocate, or what do they call
Yeah,
them? Devils, whatever.
devil's advocate.
Yeah, there you go. But okay, so as Christians, again, I was raised very Southern Baptist, very strict. Okay.
Yeah,
Fire and brimstone.
yeah.
It is what it is.
hmm
Okay. And that's when I kind of ran away from the Lord when I was in
hmm
war or in the military.
Yeah.
So it was like I had found my own plan at that time.
hmm
Now, we're not taught, at least how I was raised in the faith, is like reciprocation is almost bad, like receiving. Like, and I have a lot of clients that have a hard time. They give till it hurts so good, right? But they have a hard time receiving. For me, I have to like, I have a plant in my office, or I'm blessed to coach people at the beach and be like, listen, man, what do we breathe in? Like
Yeah.
oxygen, right? What do we breathe out? Carbon dioxide. What does the plant breathe in? Carbon dioxide breathes out oxygen. I asked them, does that plant have a choice? It doesn't have a choice. So with you, I have to ask you, are you good at receiving as you are at giving?
Mm, that's a great question. Not as good.
Me neither,
Not
dude.
as good.
Brother, I'm not either.
Yeah, because when you're a doer and
Mhm.
you're goal oriented
Yeah.
and high achiever, a type A personality like I am,
Yep.
we've prideful. We struggle with pride. We struggle with image and saying, "Hey, I've got it. I don't need anybody's help. I've got it, but I want to help you." So why would anybody else want to be helped if I'm not willing to be helped? And so I'm actually learning that
There
in
you
in this
go,
entrepreneurial journey right now.
dude. Yeah. Oh yeah, I have to be reminded all the time, brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
listen, Ferg, like,
Yeah.
take this. You know, because
Yeah.
I'll be like, no, I'm good, I'm good. And it's not meaning like I'm too good. I'll be like,
Right.
I'm good. Be like, no.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
even at like I enjoy kava. It's a root, it's a drink, whatever. And they always are like, hey man, have a kava with me. And I'm like, no, man, I'm good. Like, sit down. Like the guy that owns the place was on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange and he has that New York, like I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
man. But it was like God put him there as a reminder, be like, dude, you need to
Yeah.
receive too. I was just curious to ask you that question. So Ryan, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the line because this world needs you, okay?
Yeah.
But how do you want your dash remembered?
That's good. Actually, we actually talk about this in my men's discipleship group that I facilitate.
That's awesome.
That I love that. So thank you for that. Yeah, I want to be remembered as someone that truly cares for others and really has their best interest in mind. So much that they're willing to risk the relationship to tell them about the good news of Jesus or anything else that I'm doing in my business or somebody else is doing in their business. And I want to be genuine. I want
Mm-hmm.
people to think, man, he was authentic. He was genuine. He wasn't trying to chase the dollar. He wasn't just trying to take advantage of people. Because really, these days, you really don't know.
You
I
don't.
mean, people could put on a amazing
I was
act.
great at that, brother. I
Oh
was
yeah,
really good at that.
yeah.
Oh, you're
So,
losing your house?
mm,
I'll negotiate with the bank and instead of getting them into credit restoration, I mean, I would get them out of foreclosure, right?
yeah,
But I didn't do what I really could have did,
gotcha,
right? And so I
gotcha.
was that
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
you
So
know.
that's what I want to be known for. Just a child of God and an authentic person.
I love
Mhm.
that. I love it. I gotta ask you this then. I mean, What do you think people might misunderstand the most about Ryan?
Yeah, that's a man. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. So probably I can be stoic at times. I can
Okay.
be really stoic. So I think that they might think, I think early on in my life, people did think I was stuck up and too good for
Mm-hmm.
people. But inside I was scared to death. That's why I didn't talk. I was scared to
Mm-hmm.
death. And I couldn't talk to
Yes.
girls even until almost late into my high school
Wow.
years. I was afraid of what everybody thought of me. That's what drove me so hard to be the best because I was like, I don't want to fail. I don't
Right.
want people to think I'm an idiot.
Right.
All these things. So I think I can be misunderstood in that way, maybe a
Okay.
little too harsh at times because I
Sure.
can get really intense as a
Mhm.
as a former coach.
I was just gonna say,
I
you're
have to,
still a competitor?
oh yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
That's
cool.
why we have
He said it
dashboards in
under
our
his breath.
businesses.
Oh
We have
yeah.
scoreboards in our businesses. Yes. We got to know if we're winning or losing today,
I feel
if
you.
we're going
I
to win the
feel you.
championship. So I have to really temper even my look. Sometimes my wife will say, "Don't look at me that way." I'm like,
Yeah.
what look, what look?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can be very intense and sometimes come across as not caring. And so I've learned that I have to go over the
You
top,
and I are so alike, man.
that type of thing.
Yeah,
So
I speak a lot. My agent that books all my stuff, she'll show up at some of the stuff, and we have this cue where she'll be like, especially at my big events,
Mm,
soft, because I'll have that like
mm,
1,000 mile stare, like it's game time, and I
yeah.
always have a trampoline wherever I'm about to speak, and I'm always on it, and I just have that look. She's like, by the time you get off that trampoline, wipe that look off. It's soft. And I'm like, I'm really probably the same way because it's time.
Yeah.
And I still compete at 52 years old in submission grappling, and I've got to like I'm just because I want to keep going. Yeah, it's awesome. So, what is Ryan's definition of a life well lived?
Hmm. How many how many people I was able to impact,
Yes.
how many people that I was able to. Now I say this very loosely because I don't save anybody.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
but
Thank you.
yeah, but that's the only thing that's counted at the end of our lives. Again, not as a performance for us, but that's the only thing we can take with us are other people's souls. So I want to put my work into that.
Love it.
Houses, money, savings accounts, fame, all that stuff burns up in the end.
Gone. Yeah.
Gone. Yeah. So people are all that matter.
Love it.
So love people well and love them to Jesus. Don't beat them over the head with the
Thank you.
Bible.
Yes, thank you, brother. It's like I have, like, I'm blessed to have Saturday night services here at Christ Fellowship, right?
Nice.
And it's like it's nice because I can get guys to go with me. Like, you
Yeah.
guys can go do whatever you want after. I'm not a drinker, whatever. I mean, I'm don't judge, but I just don't. I was raised around alcohol and just with regards to one side of my family, but like they go with me, and then they're like, Ferg, we going next week? I'm like, hell yeah, man. So we might get like 10, 15 guys going now on
Yeah.
Saturday nights. Now,
Nice.
we might go out for a nice dinner, or if it's college
Yeah.
football season, being here in South Florida, you have people from everywhere. So go catching the games and stuff like that. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that, man. That's fantastic. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Ryan, I'd love to get you here to Florida for a long weekend or something. I have to find you a speaking engagement or something here,
Yeah. Would
and we
love
can
to.
talk about a few of these questions, maybe at length over a burger here or something. But today you have 5 seconds with no explanations, and I promise you they can all be answered that way. You ready to level up?
Yeah.
Here we
Let's do it.
go. All right, Ryan. What is the best leveling up advice Ryan's ever received?
Serve first.
Yeah. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Oh, rising early and a great calendar.
My man. Yes, yes. So you see me kind of walking down the street. I'm in my doldrums. Like Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. Other than the good book, what book have you read that's really made a shift in your mindset?
Oh man, that's so good. There's so many of them. My buddies, the Benham brothers, Expert Ownership.
Oh, Donnie, write that down, please. Awesome. Thank you. Your most commonly used emoji when you text, if any.
Smiley, the laughing so hard you're crying face.
Love it. Love it. Nicknames growing up?
I'm sorry.
Nicknames growing up?
Yeah, Art Rhino actually after Ryan Sandberg and then RJ. Yeah.
Best second baseman ever. And I'm
Yes.
saying that above my Lou Whitaker from Detroit, but yeah, Ryan Sandberg is the
Wow.
best. Yeah. Any hidden talent and or superpower that you have that nobody knows about until now?
Yard work. I'm a great
I like out of
landscaper
place here, baby.
and mowing. Yeah.
Love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
Love it.
Yeah.
Headline for your life.
Oh man. Oh, love God, love people.
I love it.
Yeah.
Go-to ice cream flavor.
Oh man, cookie dough.
You know, yeah, that's a good jam right there. That's
I don't know
awesome.
if it's a flavor, but we're putting it
No,
in
no, it
there.
is. You can buy it. Yeah. So go. Okay. There's a sandwich called the Rhino. Build that sandwich for me. What's on it?
Okay.
You
Yeah,
see
I
if we're
got
really friends. No, I'm kidding. No.
yeah.
But what's on that sandwich?
Yeah, yeah. So we got smoked turkey.
Oh man.
We got mozzarella. We've
Okay.
got all the fixings, the
Okay.
lettuce, the tomatoes, the stuff, some sort of a sweet and spicy
Okay.
sauce on it.
Yep. Definitely hanging out.
And toasted bun, breaded toasted bun, and just piled high bacon.
I was just, dude, if you leave out man candy, I'm just gonna have to say we have an issue. That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Any favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
Yeah, got a lot, but we'll go with the ministry center here in Conway.
Okay.
That is it administers to our homeless and the people that need jobs. They do an amazing job. So that's one for sure. I have so many, but we'll do that one.
So it's Ministry Center in Conway.
Conway,
Okay.
Arkansas.
You guys take donations online at all?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
Johnny, write that down.
Ministrycenter.org.
Perfect. Excellent. Excellent. Last question. We can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Ooh, 80s for
All
sure.
right. Can I ask your age?
48.
Okay, so we're same. Yeah, we're Xers. Yeah, I love it, man.
What's your age?
52.
52,
So,
yeah.
like, we're right there. You would have been
4 years.
probably a froshy when I was a senior.
Yep,
You had to
that's
carry
right.
my bat bag. I'm kidding.
Yep,
You
all
remember
that
those
stuff.
days, brother? Love it, man. Love it. So, Ryan, how can we find you, my friend?
Yeah, my website, Three Sparrows ES. So the number three sparrowses.com. And then they can connect with me on LinkedIn through the website there.
Love it. And the ES is executive services, correct?
Right,
For Three
that's right.
Sparrows Executive ES. Okay, beautiful. And tell us a little bit about your framework that you're offering, which there'll be a link in every show note and everywhere, squad.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, threesparrowses.com/framework. And so this framework is my 3P system that I lead from. So people, processes, and productivity. So it'll give our listeners a PDF downloadable with no deposit of their email address, completely free. And go get this PDF. It explains the people side, kind of my definition of why people, processes, and productivity are important to small business, and then gives a assessment, a very high level, easy assessment that they can just kind of check off the boxes to see if they need an executive leader, or kind of to show them where they are as far as their people training and that sort of thing too. So that's completely free. And then at the bottom of the document, if they want to schedule a free strategy session, then they can reach out to me. They can click the button and schedule a session with me for free.
Oh, it's beautiful. Is it for somebody is it for companies that are really, and again, it can lean a couple different ways from what I'm hearing. I'm going to check it out. But is it for companies that are looking to really stop owning a job and get their people, process, and productivity going? Or is it for people that are doing what you do to find places? And again,
I got you. Yeah, good question. Good clarifying question. So this is for business owners that are struggling in their business to scale up.
Okay.
And they need to find out where they are and what to do next.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Excellent, man. Thanks for clarifying. And last thing, please leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Okay. Well, I hate to be a broken record here, but just, yeah, if we can lead with a servant leadership attitude, work on that every day, level up, as you would say, level up in your leadership every day, because everybody has influence, and that's the most important thing. If people will listen to you and to want to be friends with you, no matter your differing views, I think today is there is no tolerance today. If you disagree with somebody, you just hate them.
Right.
Like, let's agree to disagree if we need to, but let's just be great servant leaders and level up to that every day.
That's beautiful, man. And that's what it's about. And squad, I just had, again, more education on about what fractional means in the business world. But this gentleman like even takes it to the next level, including that servant leadership. We're both unabashedly God-loving human beings here. He started in Athletes in Action, Ryan did, when he played at high levels. He started realizing, though, that service is the key to everything. That's what I talk about, even with my coaching clients, with my friends. Ryan and I are both kind of in that silverback time of our life where we're not young, but we're not old. So we get a lot of people coming to us, and we're so happy to pour into, whether it's God, whether it's knowledge that we have. We found out that his identity thought was baseball, but God had different plans for him, shook him up a little bit, introduced him to a fantastic woman, and he took her child in. And then this Ryan is just a fantastic person that reminds us that God, he provides in great ways, in ways that you're not even waiting for. You just have to listen for it. I mean, that's why I talk a lot about prayer and meditation out there, squad. It's like God's voice is silence. He's putting it out there to you. You just have to be listening for it. And to get to the business side of things, fractional person in a business is kind of part-time, but they're on the leadership team. But it also will cost about a third of the cost of hiring someone full-time. So think about that if you're a business owner that's really owning a job, okay? And if it comes into the COO part of it, please let me make a warm introduction to my good friend Ryan, because if he's not the right horse for the course, he probably will know somebody else, or at least put you in touch with resources to get you there. So stop owning a job, start running your business. And focus on others first. Ryan, give us that. Give until it hurts so good, but also be open to that reciprocation, because God does want to give it to you. All right. He's going to be remembered as somebody that slid across home plate, metaphorically and kind of realistically, but people realize that he gave everything of himself when he had other people's interests in mind. I mean, my guy does things for the intention, not the attention. I don't see him on social saying, look at me, I'm this fractional dude, rah, rah. No, he does things and he really pours into where he's at in that present moment. I mean, my guy Ryan's here planting trees he's never going to sit in the shade of. He wants to impact more and more people every day. And to remember, lead with a servant leadership attitude. Make it part of your daily protocol. Okay, get to praying, get to that silence, that God's voice, and let him out there. And that's what my good friend Ryan does. He levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's a handsome devil, and he's earned his varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Not that you need another letter, but hey, yeah, you earned another one, man. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. I absolutely love your guts.
Yes, Scott, this was a blessing, and thanks for the varsity letter, man. That
There you go, baby. We'll chat soon, Ryan.
All right.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you'd like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also, there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.